Antarctica is not only one of the most extreme, but also one of the most fascinating places on Earth. But did you know that many mysterious things happen and life forms hide in the eternal ice, which let the largest ice desert on the planet shine in a completely new light? What unreal organisms slumber in the seclusion of the Antarctic deep? How come the ice is literally sinking? And what about the background of the groundbreaking discovery by Russian scientists? Stay tuned and make up your own mind. But before we get started, please leave us a like and subscribe to support us for free and stay up to date at the same time. Do you have any idea what mysteries could lie dormant under the mighty ice shell? Write us your guesses in the comments now and find out right away if you were right. Wood-eating fungi. Since there are already around 100,000 known species of mushrooms, the discovery of 3 other representatives does not appear particularly spectacular at first. However, this changes abruptly when we consider what the background of these eukaryotic organisms is all about. Discovered by the University of Minnesota, Professor Robert Blanchett in the Antarctic, they feed on the very historic wooden huts that were once built by the legendary British explorers Robert Scott and Ernest Shackleton. In detail, the 3 small buildings were created when polar explorers tried to reach the South Pole between the years 1901 and 1915. The mushroom samples taken show that these differ very clearly from all species of the temperate zones. This suggests that they were brought into the region by the explorers mentioned or by later visitors. Before the dawn of the Antarctic age, the fungi there probably lived mainly on mosses, lichens, and penguin guano. Guano is a fine-grained powder that is formed when excrement is weathered on a calcareous soil. When the polar explorers arrived in the perpetual ice, they brought the mushrooms an unexpected feast. After all, Antarctica had not seen any wood for thousands of years. To keep the huts from decay, Blanchett recommended removing the ice that had accumulated under the buildings over the last century. After all, the fungi need moisture to survive. And their oil-guzzling contemporaries. However, Blanchett made another, no less exciting discovery in the course of his work. There is also a species of fungus in Antarctica that appears to feed on petroleum. Yes, you heard right. The substance that escapes from leaking fuel tanks, for example, is naturally absorbed and processed by the organisms. If these first observations are confirmed, could the fungus or the enzymes extracted from it one day help fight major oil spills? Hidden underground world. A scientific well in Antarctica revealed that deep beneath the mighty ice sheet lies something that experts never dared to dream of: a hidden ecosystem of tiny shrimp-like creatures. When the researchers examined some satellite photos of the Larsen ice shelf, they discovered a strange groove, which on closer inspection turned out to be an underground river. After using a special hot water hose, it was clear that something was lurking 500 meters below the surface of the Earth that exceeded all expectations. With countless blurs dancing around in front of the lowered camera, the scientists initially thought their equipment was defective. However, after a new lens was focused, the supposed spots turned into tiny crustaceans, so-called amphibians. This exciting discovery was again of outstanding importance. Previously, experts had never believed that any kind of life would be found at such depths. The overwhelming number of animals also proved that a complex, finely tuned ecosystem has developed under the ice. Experts have long suspected that there is an extensive network of rivers and lakes beneath the Antarctic ice. So far, however, these invisible areas have only been insufficiently examined. The task now is to study the newly discovered ecosystem in detail in order to find out how the organisms there get the nutrients they need to survive. However, it wasn't long before the researchers' initial jumps of joy were replaced by worry lines on their foreheads. Scientists fear that even remote habitats like this are at risk from global climate change. Visit from Mars. What goes by the silly scientific name ALH 84000 and one sparked a major scientific debate after its discovery in 1984. Does the almost 2-kilo Mars meteorite embody the proof of the existence of extraterrestrial life. The rock is believed to have been blown off the red planet by an asteroid impact around 15 million years ago. Rather, it struck our earthly home some 13,000 years ago. Examination with electron microscopes then revealed conspicuous structures that some researchers interpreted as fossilized bacteria. The proven magnetite containing carbonate inclusions are also typically produced by microorganisms on Earth. The same applies to the special hydrocarbons that are commonly produced when bacteria break down. To this day, experts are still arguing about whether the traces discovered could also have been formed by non-biological processes. The Song of the Ice. And what kind of music do you listen to? Yes, I like the Ross Ice Shelf song. What initially sounds like a bad joke actually alludes to an exciting discovery in Antarctica. The gigantic ice on the Ross Sea, which is almost as big as France, repeatedly emits bizarre sounds reminiscent of the sound of a didgeridoo or a booming horror film soundtrack. The bizarre ice music is created when the winds whip over the snow dunes and set the ice vibrating. Originally, the researchers only wanted to study sea level rise in the region. When humans use fossil fuels, heat-trapping gases are released into the atmosphere, contributing to warming oceans and melting ice. The sensitive seismographs that the scientists placed in the top layers of the ice shelf would ultimately record the eerie frequencies. Data collected over a 2-year period revealed that the Ross Ice Shelf was sinking almost continuously. Lake Vostok. We have already shown you that the development of Antarctic life always leaves us open-mouthed. In addition to the crustaceans already presented, the discovery of unknown life forms 900 meters under the ice should not go unmentioned. Before discovering these spongy creatures, researchers have thought it impossible for sedentary life to exist at such depths. However, a look at the research history of Lake Vostok shows that our previous findings represent at most the tiny tip of the Antarctic life iceberg. In detail, we are dealing with a huge subglacial lake, which is hidden up to 4,100 meters below the mighty ice sheet. Almost 250 kilometers long, 50 kilometers wide, and in places 1.2 kilometers deep, Lake Vostok became the focus of a breathtaking research expedition into bacteria and dirt a few years ago. Back then, in the spring of 2012, a Russian team drilled more than 3,700 meters into the thick sheet of ice. A few months later, the frozen lake water samples were to be shipped to Russia for further analysis. A little later, the work of Antarctic research was enriched by sensational news. In the samples, the scientists were repelled by a completely unknown bacterium whose genome differs very clearly from the genetic structures of other species. However, the researchers should also quickly find out what the true background of this find was all about. Somewhat embarrassed, those responsible had to announce that they had not encountered an unknown life form at all, but simply pollutants that had gotten into the lake during the drilling work. But this time means that Lake Vostok actually doesn't hide any exciting secrets. The answer to this question is no, but on the contrary. Stunning insights. In fact, the drill cores examined so far give us a fascinating foretaste of what really awaits us in the hidden water world. Even if the discovery of previously unknown life forms is still a long way off, the investigations reveal the genomes of thousands of different organisms. With a share of 94%, most of these are bacteria, complemented by some mushrooms. However, the indirect conclusions that the researchers drew are even more exciting. Since DNA was also found from parasites that are known to need a way to survive, the urgent conclusion is that Lake Vostok is also home to far more complex creatures. These could be sea anemones, worms, crabs, and even fish. Accordingly, the research results prove to us once again that the hustle and bustle of real Antarctic life is completely different than the theory of the experts. Antarctica and aliens. However, this exciting search for clues is still only at the beginning. So far, we have been able to locate over 370 subglacial lakes under the Antarctic ice. However, scientists assume that the number of undiscovered bodies of water is in the thousands and with them the mysteries that have always been waiting to be revealed by us. The bottom line is that the investigation of the invisible water worlds does not only play an outstanding role in earthly research. In fact, it can also bring us a big step closer to discovering extraterrestrial life. Let's just take a look at Jupiter's moon Europa, or at Saturn's satellite Enceladus. With a probability bordering on certainty, these celestial bodies also harbor gigantic bodies of water under their thick ice shelf. In these cases, we can even speak of full-grown seas. And if terrestrial life can thrive in such extreme environments, why shouldn't it be able to do so elsewhere in the solar system? Yes, dear viewers, that's it again with our detour into the eternal ice. Which discovery captivated you the most? We would be happy to receive your comments. If so, please let us know that you enjoyed today's video by liking and subscribing. And thank you for watching. Have a good one and see you next time.